Before I begin, I do want to inform you that I go hard and real with what I'm about to say on this episode. If you are the type of person who cannot handle the truth, with sense of humor, sarcasm, and explicit language, then I'd advise you to not listen. This episode will contain words that may be triggering and may have graphic details, so listen per your discretion. Without further ado, sit back and enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of yours truly. It is I, your one and only host, Druelee, of course. For those who have been listening to my podcast from the very beginning, you already know that I have been a divorcee for 2 years now. I've expressed my frustrations and raw emotions of what I went through while I was married and how my life has been now after leaving the marriage and currently living a single life. I'm sure many cultures besides my culture has taught and ingrained us young women to act and treat our husbands and families in a way where our individual self comes last or even be in non-existence because we basically don't matter to men or to our families, but matters to them when we are only doing things to benefit them or to give them face. To give a clear example, in my Hmong culture, it's a very normal thing for Hmong parents to teach their daughters to cook, to clean, take care of young siblings, to provide for the family at a younger age, and basically getting her ready to when she's married. She's supposed to serve her husband and his family, no matter if he treats her badly. Even if he treats her by cheating on her, being physical, mentally, verbally, or emotionally abusive, she needs to stay with him and deal with it. If she happens to leave or divorce him, she is basically bringing shame to her own family. She also cannot come back to her family as she is considered an outsider. Pretty much the family she grew up with disowned her. Another example that is common in my culture, the Hmong parents would tell their daughters was to not date, not have sex, or get pregnant before marriage. And by doing so, if the daughter happens to get pregnant, she and her boyfriend will be forced to marry. If her husband don't want or claim the baby to be his, if her husband don't want her or claim the baby to be his, she is basically considered a shame to her family. There's a lot more of the do's and don'ts us women in general have to follow and abide to, because if we don't, we pretty much are a shame to our family. Growing up, my parents taught me these things and so much more. I was told to be a good girl and just focus on school so that I can be well educated to find a good paying job. I did all of that. I didn't even start dating until I was in my junior year in college. That's when I started dating Lost Boy for 4 years, and then we decided to get married afterwards. You hear in Disney princesses movies and read and watch romantic books and movies that when we meet our Prince Charming, we get married, we will live happily ever after. The motherfucking end. But was it really a happy ending after all? I've soon realized that after divorce, that marriage is a lot more than just a fairy tale of happy ending. Marriage takes a lot of work. And if only one person is willing to fight to be with the person they vow to be with forever in life, then how come my parents or any older couples I've known didn't tell me that there will be battles to be fought and that it would take two of us to fight through them? When I got married to Lost Boy, I already knew what I need to do to fulfill my duties as a wife and as a daughter-in-law. I knew that I was willing to fight for my marriage and work things out, even if the problems we face were going to either break or make us. But what I failed to realize is that there is more to marriage than just catering to my husband. I realized that I matter too. My opinions matter. My emotions matter. Why is it that our parents, especially Hmong parents or Asian parents or whatever culture you grew up in, why is it that our parents taught us that as women, we don't matter unless we are a benefit to our husband? And I did not realize that until I was divorced. I pretty much had to learn through all of that by myself. I can't really point fingers at my parents. I also realized that my parents don't know better either too. Like, they are living their life. They know what they already know based on how they grew up, based on how their parents taught them how to do life. And I also think that our culture is also behind this, not control, but a way to, well, you could say like control a woman and her thinking what she can and cannot do. Because when you think about it, and for those who are Hmong, you know that when a male chooses to cheat, his family, especially the woman in the family, they tend to enable him to do that, or they pretty much like to point fingers at the woman by saying that she wasn't doing enough, she wasn't giving him sex, she wasn't cooking enough, she wasn't taking care of the kids, she was doing this and this and this. But what is the husband doing? What is he doing to contribute to the cheating? Our parents don't do that, or they don't think of that way. And then I just realized that, there's just more to marriage than just happily ever after. It's not all about what I want and what I fantasize. Like, yes, I may fantasize all of this all I want and paint this picture of me catering only to my husband. His family doesn't matter. I mean, of course his family matters, but in general, from my experience, come to realize that, you can't really cater your whole entire life to your husband. And for the women who are married, who are currently married, and who is struggling to be around your husband, or it's so hard for your husband to listen to you or to understand where you're coming from, my thing is that once you get married to your man, don't lose yourself. For me, I honestly feel like when I got married, I lost who I am as a person. I didn't know that just because I'm in a relationship or I'm married to this guy that my life is over. Like, this is it. My life is pretty much for him and his family only. I failed to realize that that's not the case. And I also believe that our parents fail us on that as well too, especially for us women, us girls. And I'm not trying to shade our culture, but I do have to say that I don't believe that aspect in our culture where once the woman gets married, she has to cater to her husband. She doesn't have an identity. She doesn't have a voice. And I believe that since we live in the United States now, for so many years now, shouldn't we adapt to the American culture, to American views, be open-minded, be optimistic? But apparently some of our parents are very old-fashioned and they can't accept that, or they don't like the change. If you're still stuck in the old traditional way, do you, but just know that you'll come to a point in your life where you're just gonna have a fuck it moment. You are tired of the things that your husband is doing. You'll be tired of the things that your in-laws is doing. There's just so much issues that can go around when it comes to, being married to another person and his family. All I have to say that with my experience, I lost myself. Even though I didn't see it, but my close friends and close families did see that, I was losing myself. I gained so much weight. I didn't want to come out as much. And I think it's all because the teaching that my parents taught me to cater to your husband, do things for your husband, make sure that your husband is fed, make sure that you buy groceries and clothes for him so that he doesn't run out of clothes or he doesn't go to bed hungry. Make sure that he's going to his doctor's appointment, like making sure that you do everything for him. Like I mentioned, I failed to realize that, I want to be loved too. I want to be taken care of too. When I'm sick, I want my husband to take care of me because I'm not able to take care of myself. And I think that our culture, our Hmong culture, they teach us to not do that, especially for the men, to not do that. And it's always about men and their way. And if shit goes down or if the relationship goes down, it's because of us women. And you guys stop that shit and have a different mindset, please, because again, we live in 2022, almost 2023. We live in a world, in a country where we are free to do basically everything. Well, mostly everything. Our country is a place where there's so many resources that we can find that is free, of course. But if you need the extra help, definitely pay up. Majority of the time, we live in a country where it's free. We can have our own mindset. We can choose what kind of sex we want to be. We can choose what kind of partner we want to be with. I do want my Hmong people, to accept this openness, and not trying to say to drift away from the teaching that our family taught us, but come on now. Like, the reason why there's just so many divorces and so many of us younger Gen Z or millennials where we're okay to get divorced is because we kind of know what we deserve. And when we're treating like shit, we know our worth and we are able to just leave that relationship. And I know that many of our parents and family members who are a lot older than us, they tend to stay in the marriage because if they break up or if they get divorced, then it's a bad name, especially for the woman. All I have to say is that I do support divorce. And, people, especially, okay, this is a different topic that I will do in a separate episode. But growing up in the church, they teach us Christians or young youth to not get divorced. And if you get divorced, then you basically have sinned against God. So that was what we were being taught. My thing is that, is God letting me be in a relationship where I am getting physically, mentally, verbally, spiritually, what's the other one? Mentally, physically, mentally, spiritually abuse? Is he allowing his own child to go through all of that, to be with someone who's going to treat his child of God like that? And you guys might say that, oh, you're such an atheist. No, because this is the honest question that a lot of Christians people will ask. And like I mentioned, I will go through in depth with that in a separate episode. However, that's what I say that I support divorce. Anybody who's in a relationship or a marriage where it's not fulfilling you, to where your partner is treating you like shit, and he is, just because he doesn't hit you, that doesn't mean he's not abusing you. There's, like I said, there's verbal abuse, there's mentally abuse, spiritual abuse, and emotionally abuse. Those are all considered abuse. It's just that it's not a norm for people to talk about those things. And the only thing that we will discuss a lot more is physical, when he hits you or when she hits you. That's when it's time to get the fuck out. However, for me, I went through the verbal and the emotional abuse. And, I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, he did all that. Like, I know that I playing part in all those things too. But now I know better. And I know that, it was just a way of me to voice my opinion. And like I said, because of what my parents taught me, I just was so used to just sitting there and not take anything, and to think or to tell myself that my emotions doesn't matter. If my partner is not happy, then it's my fault. I need to do what I need to do to make sure that our marriage is okay. And you guys, you're not supposed to be the only one in charge of your marriage or in control of your marriage. If you're with someone, speaking on a woman's view, okay, ladies, if you are married to a guy and he's letting you do everything, meaning planning for things, planning for dates, or planning how your life will be, like where your life will be in the next 5 or 10 years, he's waiting for you to do every single thing. Cook and clean, take care of the kids, get a job, give him sex, all that shit. What the fuck is he doing? What is he contributing to the marriage? Just because he's married to you, that doesn't mean that he ends being an adult. And that's one of the things that I hate about our culture, is that they allow the sons to do that. Most importantly, us women, we also have a blame in this too, because we allow our men to do that. And, overall, we don't know better. We don't know that, we can say something about it. We can leave this motherfucker if he's not doing things that he needs to be doing. Our parents don't teach us that. Our culture don't teach us that. And I know a lot of us women wants to leave the relationship. And I know that it's hard because, yes, you have kids. Yes, you will love this motherfucker. And you have your own personal reasons, okay? Most importantly, you don't know your worth. You don't know that you can actually survive this and become a better person and live a better life, because we are ingrained with so much fear and control from our culture that we don't see that ourselves matter too. And like I said, after I got divorced, I realized that, I matter. As much as I want to paint this perfect, happy marriage and post it on social media and tell the whole world that I'm happy with my husband and all that stuff. But behind closed doors, there's a lot of shit that goes in there. And it's not all about the happy ending. It's not all about portraying to other people and to myself that I have a better marriage. Yes, we may go through shit, but at the end of the day, if we have a lot of issues and it's unresolved and your partner is not willing to take accountability, doesn't want to come up with solutions with you and work things out, you're in the relationship by yourself. You might as well just leave the motherfucker and just live on your own. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you guys to divorce your husbands. No. Do it on your own terms. You know, like as much as a lot of people, or even myself, as much as I tell you guys these things, that's up to you if you want to leave your husband. But aside from that, what I'm trying to say is that, ladies, you do matter. Your hopes and your dreams, your career, your individual self matter. Just because you got married, that doesn't mean that your life ends. That doesn't mean that your purpose in life is to have kids or to cater to your husband. You have your own life. And, you know, I've seen so many women out there, friends or family, acquaintance, whatever. I've seen that they will do everything for the husband. And, you know, I get it. The love that you have for your husband, you do everything for him. But if he isn't doing anything for you in return, I mean, love in a relationship is give and take. And if you keep giving and giving and giving, and the person keeps taking from you over and over and over again, you're going to get drained. You're going to lose yourself. You're going to be like me, where like I thought I was going crazy, like to the point where I question the relationship. I question myself. I question is it my fault that our relationship was like that? Is it my fault that he cheated? Is it my fault that he shuts himself down? And you know, like I like I said, I don't want to sit here and blame, you know, the other person or blame myself. Like we're in this relationship because we both have issues that we haven't dealt with, and we don't know how to. We don't have people that are successful in marriage. Because like I told you guys, my parents are not together. They're separate. They're still legally married, but they live separately. And with Lost Boy, his parents are still together because they want control. Like they're a very narcissist family that wants control. Same with my parents too. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people have narcissist tendency in them. A little, like a bit part of it is in us, okay? But you can actually tell when somebody has like a huge narcissist traits, okay? And my parents, how I see it is that they're still together because they want to control each other. That's it. There's no love in there. Maybe there is, but they're just playing hard to get. Like OGs. Like our parents can be hard-headed sometimes, you know, but from the way that I see it is that I don't want to point fingers, but I do have to say that our parents do play a role in how we grow up and how we do life. And when you have parents who doesn't have a good relationship, like it doesn't set a good example of how you're going to have your relationship either too. You're going to think that, okay, it's okay to cheat. If my parents cheat, then it's okay for me to cheat. If my parents decide to live separately, then they live separately. And that's all we know. I get that our parents don't know. They only know based on what their parents taught them. And now that we live in, going back to living in the United States, like it's a free country, and there's no excuse for us to blame other people. Like we have to look at ourselves, and we have to want change. We have to want to do better for ourselves. You know, as much as I like truly love the ex, I did everything that my parents taught me to be a good wife, to be a good daughter-in-law, all of that, catering to him. Even when we had our problems, like I did what I knew back then to make sure that our marriage was going to work. And in the end, things didn't work out. You know, at the end of the day, I have to do what's right for myself because, you know, once I die, he's not going to come with me. Once I die, no money, no material, no people that I love is going to die with me. I'm going to die alone by myself. Unless, like, we rode in a car together and, yeah, we both died together, sure. But realistically, when you get old, you're going to die by yourself. You can't take nobody with you. And if things in my life doesn't go the way that I want to, you guys don't blame on anybody but yourself. Can't say that he treated me like this. Can't say that my parents did this, my mom did this to me, my dad did this to me. You have to point the fingers at yourself and ask yourself, what did I do in my life? Is this what I want in my life? And that's why I said like, it's so hard for me to I don't know, jump into the wagon of the dating scene. Like, I enjoy dating. I enjoy getting to know people. But I'm in a part of my life where, you know, if I were to date anyone in the future, they need to understand that I have my own life. I have my personal job, my personal life that I want to do my own thing. And I understand what it takes to be in a marriage. Some people are stupid and slow and don't know jack shit about marriage. You know, and I'm just honestly speaking, say people think that marriage is a game. They think that just because you get married, you have respect from elders, that you have a higher title, and that you made it. You basically made it to the world. Like you are successful. You have a title of being married. And you guys, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. My thing is that if you don't want to get married, you don't want to get married. And that's totally fine. We just need to normalize being single, and that's okay to be single. It's nice to have companionship. But my thing is that if I were to go back and get married, like my mindset now is totally different from how it was in the past. I'm not telling my partner to cut off his family or his parents. My thing is that being married to you, I'm going to go all out for you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to do what I need to do to cater to you, to love you, to change for the better. And if he's not willing to see that, he's not willing to have that mindset to where he's not cutting off his parents. He's just creating boundaries. If he can't create boundaries within his parents, he can't leave them to be with me, to start a life with me. He doesn't understand what it takes to be a husband, to be a father. Then he's not ready, and especially just bounce out. And you know, you guys, it's okay. It's okay if I don't meet that person. You guys might say that, oh, your standards are so high. Like, you'll never meet a guy that. I'm totally fine with that. I am just protecting myself. I don't want to go through the same shit that I did in the past. And you guys, when you get divorced, it's a lot of like emotional heartache. And some people, like, it's easy for them to move on, and that's totally fine. And also because I'm starting all over again, and I'm in the part of my life where I want to be financially successful. I want to build my own empire or build my own legacy in the present time. As of now, while I'm recording this episode, I'm putting dating in the back burner. And you know, it's okay. I will eventually meet people. I'm just all about networking, getting to know people, learning about their stories. That's just who I am. I don't want any serious relationship. My mindset is not there just because I haven't found anyone who's on that level. And also men, I'm not speaking to all the men, but some men, they think that just because they're married to you, that your life is done and that you're supposed to cater to him only. And let's say if you fail to give him a child, if you fail to do certain things that he would want you to do, you basically are failing him. And, you know, ladies, I want you guys to realize and understand that you matter too. Your life matter. Just imagine when you're not with your husband. What are you doing? What are you doing to better yourself? Are you just waiting for your husband to do everything? Are you revolving your life what your husband is doing? Like when people look at you and when people see you or hear your name, what do you want people to remember you by? Like, as for me, whenever people hear me or sees me, I want them to look at me and know that, oh, Drew's the nail lady, right? Drew's that podcast lady that talks shit about her in-laws. She's the lady that talks shit about her ex or whatever, right? That's not the point. But like, I want people to remember me of, you know, Drew is a person that likes to do nails. She's really creative. She has a podcast that she's the type of person that loves to talk about taboo topics. Very open-minded. She's all about awareness. Have a hobby, have a niche where people can know you for who you are. You know, I'm not saying that your husband's life, like, you live your life based on your husband's life. No, I'm not saying that, oh, that's bad. But hey, if you feel that, you know, you love the way your husband's living and you enjoy it and you wouldn't mind catering to him, okay, kudos to you, okay? But for those ladies who are struggling, who's doing so much for your man and he doesn't get it, or it's frustrating and you feel like you're doing this by yourself, just know that you matter and that you have your own life too. You have to take care of yourself first, because if you don't take care of yourself, what makes you think that you'll be able to take care of other people? You have to come first. And no, it's not a selfish thing. People will say that, oh, you're so selfish. Like, why you only think about yourself? No. If you want to be successful in life, it all comes back to you. What are you doing to better yourself? How you love yourself is how you love other people. And I realized that, in this journey, I need to pour more love to myself. And I know that I am a bomb-ass lover. And if I love hard and I give my all. I know what I need to do to take care of my man. But some people, they don't know how to do that for you. Love is a verb. You gotta show up for it. Don't just talk your shit and don't do shit. That's what I realized after divorce. You think that, especially when you're younger, for your teenage folks who are dating, yes, you go to a phase where, you want to see your boyfriend, your girlfriend every day. You cannot wait to marry this person and be with each other forever and live happily ever after. But realistically, it doesn't do any better just because there's pressure between him and his family and your own family. It doesn't get better, and that's something that our parents don't tell us. And there's going to be a lot of people that's going to test the relationship. There's going to be people, as in our own parents are going to test us, our siblings are going to test us, friends, even outsiders are going to test you in the relationship. And that's up to you guys if you guys are willing to fight that and you guys are willing to work things out. Now, if you're doing all you can to hold the relationship and you are the one that's doing it, you are the one that's carrying the relationship, that's leading the relationship, especially you woman, and your man is not doing anything, I'll be the one to tell you that it's not going to work, okay? Because I experienced that myself. And for me, being so hopeful that things would change and that he will see what I see, no. If you both don't want to work on these issues that you guys have, the relationship is not going to work. And it's up to you. Either you want to suck it up, deal with it, deal with a loveless relationship. That's on you. But you cannot complain. You cannot be negative about it. You chose to be with this person. And like I always say, just remember, you live in this world one time. My thing is, if I'm still alive and breathing, if I want to do better or if I want a better life, I need to just do it, find resources, research, do what I need to do so that my life is where I want it to be. And there are times where you cannot control your life. There are times where shit happens and then it's delayed. And I get that. At the end of the day, this is your life. Take accountability of it. Stop pointing fingers at other people. And just know that you are going to go through a whole bunch of shit in your life. You can't dodge anything. You can't be drama-free. As much as you want to be drama-free, there's always going to be drama. And that's up to you of how you can handle it. And they also, like, the funny thing is that, like how I mentioned to you guys that, ladies, you do matter. Your life do matter. How you're feeling and what you're feeling do matter. Just because you're married to your spouse, that doesn't mean that you cater to him only. So my thing is that you guys have to think in a way where you do matter as well. Your feelings and your emotions matter. Your boundaries matter. Your self-respect matter. That's how I grew up. Being a good girl, right? Being a good girl, going to church, don't date, do what you need to do to be educated and get a good job and then get married. Like the norm of society, right? And of course, our parents teaches us to not have sex and all that, right? I soon realized that being a good girl, I finished last. And what I mean by that is that, guys will say, there's this term guys will say that good guys always finish last. Let me tell you one thing. Good girl finished last also. And you know why we finished last? You guys will have to find out on the next episode. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming back and listening to my podcast and to my episodes as well. Very much appreciate you guys. My thing is that I just want to bring awareness. I love talking about taboo topics. That's just me. I love getting deep into the topic and getting dark into the topic. That's just me. And I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for always coming in and tuning in to my podcast. You guys don't want to miss the next episode because you just don't want to miss. Because like I said, being a good girl, we do finish last. And the hint of that would be sex. So if you're into sex, stay tuned for the next episode. Again, I will end it here. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.